Michael Hernandez here of MLH Media, and we are here today. I mean, we are on the road to A1 Combat coming up really quick here on July 20th, A1 Combat 22. And I'm here with Mason Hartshorn. It's going to look to kick off some of that action over there in Sacramento at the Hard Rock. How you feeling, Mason?
Feeling awesome, feeling excited, ready for this event.
You've kind of been someone I wouldn't say you're an A1 staple, but you've definitely had your rounds at A1. How has it been for you to get to hop in the cage over there at A1? I know Dan Black, your coach, and someone that you definitely have a pretty good relationship with, has had a pretty good standing with Tom Anderson over the time. But how has it been for you and your personal experience in hopping in that A1 combat cage?
Yeah, I mean it's been awesome experience. Tom puts on a great show. It's just a great environment, great overall organization to have. Awesome fights. But yeah, great experience so far.
I believe you're kind of one of those prospects on the scene. And I was talking with your opponent, Israel Gonzalez, as well a little bit. But you guys both kind of get get a lot of people not wanting to fight you. You know what I'm saying? You get a lot of people possibly not looking to take on the matchup. So how was it for you to have someone that was willing to sign the dotted line across from you, and you not really having to be going from acre to acre looking for an opponent? Because it seems oftentimes, man, you're having opponent dropouts, or you're having to kind of deal with a lot of these weird catch weight bouts. So how has it been to be able to kind of have a little bit more of the quote unquote normal road to a fight camp?
It's a lot more smooth, a lot more easygoing. I'm down to fight anybody. Whoever it is. So, much respect to my opponent. We're both gonna get down and we're both gonna fight. Two warriors gonna duke it out. So that's all I look forward to these fights.
You always are someone that looks in there to get the finish, as you have shown in your professional career. What are some things that fight fans that possibly have not got the chance to get to watch Mason Hartshorn in that cage? What are some things that you could possibly, they could look to expect to come out of you over there at the Hard Rock Sacramento on Saturday night?
Um, I feel like I've so far had put on a diverse performance, whether it's wrestling or jiu-jitsu or even my stand-up. I've got a finish and standing up. Got a TKO when I was in Oklahoma fighting with XFN, and then I got a submission to finish against my first pro fight with A1 Combat against Talon Jermaine out of Team Alpha Male. And, so I feel like I've had, a good, diverse performance so far. But I think maybe the fans want to see more of my hands, or, I kind of like to stand and bang. So I don't know. Whatever the fans like. I mean, I try to put on a show. So no matter what it is, how I finish, you know.
Yeah, someone that's looking to go wherever the kind of road takes them. And that's something that I was going to say. I feel like you've definitely even shown in your amateur career. I mean, the first time I personally got to watch you in the cage, you, Alex Bonilla, personally, one of my still like favorite amateur fights to go ahead and watch back. Can you kind of recap what you learned from your amateur career? Because I feel like oftentimes a lot of guys in their amateur careers, they don't take a lot of knowledge away from it. But I feel like you're someone that got to face some pretty good talent when you were in the amateurs. Do you feel like that helped to help supplement your now professional career?
Yeah, for sure. I think having a lot of multiple fights and fighting, top ranked amateurs definitely helps transition into the professional aspect of things, for sure.
What would you
But
say has
yeah,
been your? Oh, continue.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what would you feel has like been your number one lesson that you would take away?
I think just maybe the overall process of things, of getting a fight and then weigh-ins and then having this, just this long process until the fight, you know, um, you know, coming from like a wrestling background, you know, it's a you have a match after match after match. You're not really waiting so long until a fight. So I think that's also plays a good mental aspect because like you're just waiting until you get into that cage. So I think there's a lot of like mental and like emotional factors that come into that.
Could you kind of go into some of those factors that you've dealt with now in your professional career? I mean, I feel like when you go into that professional realm and the amateurs, it's a little bit less pressure. But once you're in the pros, it's really, I feel, everything's kind of, the record stays, as they say. What would you say are
Yeah.
a little bit more of those pressures that you deal with from amateurs to pros now that you've been able to get a couple of fights now in your professional career?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that too. The record stays and whatnot, but to me, record doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to fight whoever and trying to fight the best. Win or lose, I don't care. I think it's just each fight is a learning lesson to me. So, and I just like the process. I like everything that takes um into factors of fighting. It's a lot different than wrestling for sure. Um, where it's more laid back, more chill. You're not, you know, having to cut weight every single weekend and having multiple matches. Um, it's just more chill in that way. But again, we're both trying to duke it out and either submit and knock each other out. So it's a different game for sure. Um, where you just have to protect yourself.
It definitely seems like you were someone that's ready to protect yourself at all times. I mean, even in this last matchup over there against Daniel Park, a matchup that maybe you didn't get your hand raised in, but some a match that you were in till the very end. Can you kind of give fight fans a little bit of the perspective from your eyes? I mean, somebody that was in the cage physically, because it seemed like you guys were having a little bit of a pick your point battle in there.
Yeah, I mean, he was just more of the better stand-up fighter. It was just kind of hard to like establish my game plan, against him. He was very, squirrely in a sense of styles. I think the style was, what won the fight for sure. Styles win fights, sometimes. So, uh, my style really just didn't finish the fight. So, um, I think he was just a better technical fighter than me. Um, Other than that, I think it was a great fight, great learning points from that fight as well. And just ready for this next one.
Definitely one of the more underrated fights. I feel like that was on that A1 Combat 20 card. I was getting to watch it a little bit from that backstage area, and it just seemed like every single time that he was delivering, I mean, he was delivering some shots, but definitely seemed like you were being able to sneak your own in there as well. Was that kind of a learning lesson? I know you said you've learned a lot of lessons in your MMA career, but was that another one for you as well? Being able to work with those diversified strikers? Because I know that was a little bit more of a different style than maybe what you're used to
Yeah,
seeing in the cage or what you've been fighting before, correct?
yeah, for sure, totally. I just remember my coach Dan Black just telling me like, as soon as they throw, you throw back too. No matter what, because that's when he's stepping in and getting in range, and that's when he's in my range as well. So I just remember that as soon as he throws, I throw. So that's probably why you saw a little bit of that as well, trying to get my shots in.
It definitely seemed like you got a couple of those shots in as well. I mean, both of you guys after it just seemed you guys were both exhausted, even though it went to a decision. I know that sometimes these fans get the narrative that just because a knockout doesn't happen or a gnarly submission that both the fighters aren't gassed after. But let me tell you, 15 minutes in a cage fighting for your life, it'll definitely get you to that
For
point. But
sure, for sure.
I think you would definitely have a little bit to agree with that. Am I right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, dude.
It's absolutely wild to me, some of these fans. But just to talk a little bit more about your upcoming bout that you got coming up here about on A1 Combat 22 over there in the Sacramento area. I mean, what are your thoughts about the whole location change? Was that something that has kind of been leaning on your mind a little bit? I mean, having to get the Nevada license and doing all that. How is it now knowing that hey, you're going into fight week and everything's smooth and sailing?
Um, I kind of wanted to fight in Reno. I feel like it was a cool environment to fight at. It's gonna be at the Grand Sierra and whatnot. You know, Probably like a bigger step into for A1 as well. Maybe try to spread and get have more viewers as well. But it is what it is. I think also with the Nevada, it was kind of hard trying to get all different medicals in as well. But now since it's at the Hard Rock is just more smooth sailing. And now, like, I already been there. I know already how where everything is. I know how everything goes. So more smooth, but not too big of a deal.
More of a home environment, you would
Yeah, for
say,
sure. I
compared
mean, I
to.
fought there. I mean, like 3 times already. So I'm definitely more comfortable in that environment for sure.
Yeah, and it was definitely something that was going to be a challenge with everything that was being posed. But I mean, like how you said, something that A1 Combat has been doing for quite some time is putting on shows over there at that Hard Rock Sacramento. So all the fans in attendance know that they will not only be getting a great show, but it's going to be something that has been tweaked and perfected to, I mean, dang near the max at this point. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
exactly.
cool to be able to get to watch you guys in the cage. But just a couple of questions more here for you, Mason. Really do appreciate your time getting to speak to you today. I know it's a Sunday. You know you're wanting to go ahead and relax with family. I know no football is on. You got that flag over there above you.
Yep.
What are your predictions for this upcoming season, man? You got Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew dueling it out, quarterbacks. I mean, what are you thinking about your Las Vegas Raiders coming up in this 2024 season
Ah, man, I
or
think they'll do all
2025?
right. I think they'll do all right. You know how it goes with them, man. They'll probably get in the playoffs and they'll probably lose. Eh,
Any
you know how it
guys, any
is.
guys that you favor on that roster? I mean, Max Crosby's always a great favorite of a
Yeah, I
lot of
like
guys,
Max
but
Crosby a
anybody,
lot. I do the Savage.
Max Crosby's your guy.
Yeah, Max Crosby's my guy for sure.
Any guys that you really that you're looking for? I don't know if you're the biggest football fan, but any
I'm not.
guys that
I'm
you're
not too
possibly
much of a big football fan. Not too much.
not too
My
much.
my
Okay,
family, on the
okay.
other hand, is a big football
Big
family.
football. So
Yeah.
how was that transition with you kind of I know you said you originally had that wrestling background a whole lot, but then going into MMA, was there kind of that same like, oh yeah, we're behind you 100%, Mason Hartshorn all the way, or was there like a wait, you're throwing on the gloves a little bit.
No.
It's a little bit of a
Yeah. I mean, my family's always had my back 100%, no matter what I've done, um, which has been awesome. I'm very thankful for them. They're like my support system. Like I rely on them so much, especially for my fights. They help me so much. So I thank them and I love them for that.
All right. And that definitely seems like something that we have seen in the A1 combat arena before. I mean, even in that last fight against Daniel Park, one of the loudest pops that I had heard that night was definitely for the likes of Mason Carzino Hartshorn over there out of Antioch, California with Team Black. How has that been for you to kind of be also a part of that kind of wave of Team Black guys that have just been able to kind of get themselves into that pro scene and just really start kind of carrying a name and really gain into the regional scene and just like how I said, making a name and starting to make a splash.
Oh, I love it, man. I love all the support everybody has given me. All my sponsors. Everybody that has helped me. And even all the attendees that even shout my name. I love it. It just gives me more energy and more just good vibes going into that fight. So I love it.
What are some things that you possibly, I know you were speaking about a little bit earlier that fans could expect to see out of you, but what are some things that you personally have been working on a little bit more going into this fight camp, going against up against Israel Gonzalez? I mean, someone that, like how you said, it's you've been someone that's been taking these fights in your career, a 4-1 opponent in your way on July 20th. What are some things that you've been preparing on in preparation for this bout?
Um, man, I just everything. I've just been training so much. And just every fight I take. I just train to my full potential and try to give it 100%. Um, there's really nothing much that has been changed, in my training regimen, so kind of like to keep it the same. Anything changes, kind of, steer a different path, so I like keeping things the same. That way I know I'm ready to go.
Anybody that you want to thank before this bout coming up on July 20th? I mean, I know you said you have a ton of supporters. You definitely have a lot of sponsors. I mean, I feel like I see you and your pops always posting up a lot with definitely whoever is supporting you in that area. Anybody that you want to thank in particular, though, before A1 Combat 22 rises upon us?
Yeah, I just want to thank Dan Black, my coach, my mom and dad, Brett and Jenny, yeah, my whole family, all my sponsors, the HOC where I get my recovery done. The ranch, Juan Quesada with Backpack Boys, all those guys. Yeah, and Tom Anderson as well. Just want to thank him for allowing me to fight and with his organization and getting me all these fights.
I think that the A1 Combat fans are always lucky to have you on the cards, and I think they're going to be very lucky in preparation for July 20th, A1 Combat 22 over there at the Hard Rock Sacramento. You got Mason Carzino Hartshorn over there testing his 2-1 record against the likes of Israel Gonzalez. Your man personally will be commentating that fight. Very much looking forward to getting to speak on that bout. I know it's going to be. I know I've been saying late July fireworks, but man, it just feels like so many fights this month that have been absolutely just match made perfectly into the T. And like how you said, got to give it up to Tom Anderson for putting this card together and
Yep.
for just making sure everything goes. A1 Combat's own UFC 303 is making sure everything's going to set sail over there on July 20th. But Mason, that is all that is going to do it for me over here in Visalia, California, in the 559. Got Mason Carzino Hartshorn over there in Antioch, California, and we are going to be signing out over here before we head into A1 Combat 22. Make sure to see y'all out there.
Peace.